Welcome to Stoic Vivu, where ancient wisdom meets modern life. Today, we're diving into something that every single one of us faces. Those days when life feels absolutely impossible. You know the ones I'm talking about. Maybe you just lost your job after giving that company everything. Perhaps your relationship fell apart despite your best efforts. Or you're dealing with health issues that came out of nowhere. Sometimes it feels like the universe is using you as a punching bag, and you're too exhausted to even duck anymore. Here's the thing, you're not alone in feeling this way. In fact, 2,000 years ago, there was a man who faced hardships that would make our worst days look like vacation. His name was Epictetus, and his story is about to change how you see every single struggle in your life. Imagine being born without even the dignity of a name. That's how Epictetus entered this world. The name Epictetus literally means acquired one, basically property. He wasn't John or Marcus or David. He was just a thing that someone owned. Born into slavery in ancient Rome, he experienced the kind of suffering most of us can't even imagine. Physical torture wasn't unusual. The fruits of his labor were stolen daily. His body was abused like a work animal, pushed to the breaking point and beyond. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. While Epictetus had every reason to become bitter, angry, and defeated, he discovered something profound. He realized that even though his body was in chains, his mind could be free. Even though others controlled his external circumstances, they couldn't touch his internal world, his thoughts, his values, his character. This isn't some feel-good platitude or empty motivation. This is practical philosophy that transformed a slave into one of history's greatest teachers. The wisdom Epictetus developed didn't just help him survive, it helped him thrive in conditions that would break most people. And eventually, his ideas would influence Roman emperors and shape the course of Western thought. Over the next several sections, we're going to explore exactly how Epictetus turned his worst circumstances into his greatest strengths. You'll discover his revolutionary two-handle method for dealing with any situation. You'll learn what you actually control in life. Spoiler: it's less than you think, but more powerful than you imagine. And most importantly, you'll see how these ancient teachings apply directly to whatever you're facing right now. Whether you're dealing with a difficult boss, financial stress, relationship problems, or just feeling overwhelmed by life, the principles we're about to explore can transform your perspective completely. This isn't about pretending everything is fine when it's not. It's about finding genuine strength and freedom, even in the midst of chaos. So let's begin this journey together, starting with the incredible story of how a slave became freer than the most powerful people in Rome. 1. The slave who had more freedom than his masters. You're standing in the grand marble halls of Emperor Nero's palace in ancient Rome. Gold gleams from every surface, exotic perfumes fill the air, and the most powerful people in the known world sweep past in their silk robes. Among them moves a limping slave, Epictetus. But if you look closely, you'll notice something strange. While the wealthy senators nervously check over their shoulders, while the ambitious courtiers scheme and worry, while even the emperor himself rages at perceived slights, this slave walks with a peculiar calmness. He's discovered something they haven't. Epictetus' story begins in Hierapolis, in what's now modern-day Turkey. Born around 50 CE, he entered the world already marked as property. His mother was a slave, which meant he inherited her status. No birth certificate recorded his arrival. No proud parents chose his name. He was simply another piece of inventory in a Roman household, as legally significant as a piece of furniture. The physical reality of his slavery was brutal. Historical accounts suggest his leg was deliberately broken by his master, leaving him with a permanent limp. This wasn't unusual. Roman law gave slave owners absolute power over their human property. Epictetus could be beaten, starved, or killed without legal consequence. Every morning, he woke knowing that his body, his labor, even his life belonged to someone else. Yet something remarkable was happening in Epictetus's mind. Working in Nero's court, he had a front row seat to observe the Roman elite. These were people who had everything: wealth beyond imagination, political power, social status, beautiful homes, and armies of servants. They could satisfy any desire with a snap of their fingers. But Epictetus noticed they were miserable. He watched senators who owned vast estates pace anxiously about losing favor. He saw wealthy merchants who could buy anything except peace of mind. He observed how Nero himself, the most powerful man in the world, was enslaved to his paranoia, his temper, and his need for constant validation. These free citizens would fly into rages over cold soup or spend sleepless nights obsessing over imagined insults. They were wounded by the smallest criticisms and lived in constant fear of losing what they had. This observation led Epictetus to a profound realization. Slavery and freedom weren't really about chains and legal status. They were about the mind. A person could be legally free but mentally enslaved to their fears, desires, and opinions of others. Conversely, someone could be physically enslaved but maintain complete freedom in their thoughts, values, and inner life. Consider what enslaved these powerful Romans. They were addicted to praise. One negative comment could ruin their entire day. They were dependent on luxury. The thought of losing their comfortable lifestyle terrified them. They were controlled by ambition, always reaching for the next position, never satisfied with what they had. They were prisoners of their own emotions. Anger, jealousy, and fear dictated their actions. Meanwhile, Epictetus had nothing to lose. His external circumstances were already at rock bottom. This gave him an unusual kind of freedom, the freedom of someone with no illusions about controlling the outside world. He couldn't control whether he was beaten, but he could control whether he maintained his dignity. He couldn't control being sold to a new master, but he could control whether he acted with integrity. He couldn't control his social status, but he could control his character. This isn't to romanticize slavery or minimize its horrors. Epictetus suffered tremendously, but within that suffering, he discovered principles that would later revolutionize how we think about freedom and happiness. He realized that most people voluntarily forge their own chains. They enslave themselves to things that ultimately don't matter: social media likes, job titles, bank account balances, other people's opinions. Think about your own life for a moment. What enslaves you? Maybe it's the constant need to check your phone, afraid you'll miss something important. Perhaps it's the anxiety about what your colleagues think of your presentation, or the sleepless nights worrying about bills, even though worrying has never paid a single one. We create elaborate prisons from our desires and fears, then wonder why we feel trapped. Epictetus's insight was that true freedom comes from focusing on what's actually under our control. A slave master could control his body, but not his judgment. Rome could control his legal status, but not his values. Circumstances could control his external condition, but not his internal response. This wasn't passive acceptance, it was active choice. Every day, in countless small ways, he chose dignity over degradation, wisdom over bitterness, growth over victimhood. This principle applies directly to our modern struggles. Your boss might control your work schedule, but not your attitude. The economy might affect your job prospects, but not your decision to keep learning and growing. Your ex might have broken your heart, but they can't control whether you choose bitterness or healing. Traffic jams, rude customers, unexpected bills. None of these can enslave you unless you hand them the keys to your mind. Ultimately, Epictetus's time in Nero's palace taught him that the freest person is the one who needs nothing from anyone else for their peace of mind. Not approval, not comfort, not even fairness. This doesn't mean becoming cold or disconnected. It means finding an unshakable core of strength that external events can't touch. It means discovering that you already possess everything you need for a good life, the ability to choose your response to whatever happens. 2. Why bad days are actually good for you. Let's say you just got fired from a job you've held for 5 years. You're sitting in your car in the parking lot, a cardboard box of personal items in the back seat, feeling like your world just collapsed. Your mind races through the bills you need to pay, the embarrassment of telling family and friends, the uncertainty of what comes next. This feels like one of the worst days of your life. But what if Epictetus could sit in that passenger seat and show you something you're missing? Epictetus had a radical view of adversity that most people find hard to swallow at first. He believed that every hardship, every setback, every painful experience was actually an opportunity in disguise. Not in some toxic positivity way where you pretend everything is fine. Rather, he saw difficulties as the exact experiences we need to develop strength, wisdom, and character. Without them, we remain soft, untested, and ultimately unfulfilled. Consider his famous words, "A podium and a prison is each a place, one high and the other low. But in either place your freedom of choice can be maintained if you wish." He wasn't saying a prison cell is as pleasant as a speaking platform. He was pointing out that both situations offer the chance to exercise what makes us truly human, our ability to choose our response, to find meaning, to grow stronger. Think about how muscles develop. You don't build strength by lifting feathers. You need resistance, weight, something that challenges your current capacity. Your muscles literally break down under stress, then rebuild stronger than before. Epictetus saw character development the same way. Comfort doesn't build resilience. Easy times don't develop wisdom. It's the hard days, the painful experiences, the moments when life kicks you in the teeth. These are what forge an unbreakable spirit. Modern Chicago presents the perfect laboratory for this principle. Imagine you're stuck on the Kennedy Expressway during a January blizzard. Traffic hasn't moved in 40 minutes. Your phone is dying. The heater is struggling against the cold. You're going to miss your daughter's school play. Most people in this situation would spiral into frustration, anger, maybe even rage. But what if you saw this differently? This traffic jam is revealing something about you. Are you someone who needs everything to go according to plan? Do you fall apart when you can't control circumstances? Or can you find peace even in chaos? Can you use this time for reflection instead of frustration? Maybe you realize you've been so busy rushing from place to place that you haven't had a quiet moment to think in weeks. Maybe this forced pause is exactly what you needed. Epictetus taught that circumstances don't make the person. They reveal the person to themselves. That job loss isn't creating your character. It's showing you what character you already have. And more importantly, it's giving you the chance to develop the character you want. Every difficulty is like a mirror that shows us who we really are when the comfortable masks come off. Here's where this gets practical for your daily life. That coworker who constantly undermines you in meetings, they're not ruining your life. They're giving you advanced training in maintaining composure under pressure. The relationship that ended badly, it's not a failure, it's teaching you what you really value in a partner and revealing areas where you need to grow. The health scare that came out of nowhere, it's forcing you to confront what really matters and maybe make changes you've been avoiding for years. This doesn't mean you should seek out suffering or pretend to enjoy pain. Epictetus wasn't a masochist. He was a realist who understood that life includes inevitable hardships. Since we can't avoid them, we might as well use them. It's like judo using the opponent's force against them. Life throws you a problem, use its weight to strengthen your character. Consider how Epictetus himself embodied this principle. Every abuse he suffered as a slave became a lesson in maintaining dignity under degradation. Every day of physical pain from his damaged leg became practice in not letting bodily discomfort control his mind. His unfair exile from Rome later in life, he used it to establish a thriving philosophy school in Nicopolis, where his teachings would influence generations of students. The transformation happens when you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What can this teach me?" Or, "How can this make me stronger?" You're stuck in Los Angeles traffic for 2 hours? Instead of fuming about wasted time, you could use it to practice patience, listen to educational content, or simply learn to be comfortable with stillness. Your startup failed after 2 years of hard work? Instead of seeing only loss, you could recognize the invaluable education you received, lessons no MBA program could teach. This shift in perspective isn't about denying reality or suppressing emotions. When bad things happen, it's natural and healthy to feel disappointed, sad, or frustrated. Epictetus wasn't advocating for becoming an emotionless robot. He was teaching that after the initial emotional response, we have a choice. We can remain stuck in victimhood, replaying our grievances and building resentment. Or we can ask ourselves, now that this has happened, how can I use it? Every bad day is like a personal trainer for your character. It's showing you where you're weak, where you need work, where your true values lie. The person who's never faced adversity is like someone who's never exercised. They might look fine on the outside, but they lack real strength. When life finally does challenge them, they crumble. But those who've learned to see difficulties as opportunities, they become unshakable. In essence, Epictetus is teaching us that bad days aren't actually bad. They're just difficult. And difficulty, when approached with the right mindset, is the raw material of growth. This understanding transforms every setback into a setup for something better, every loss into a lesson, every closed door into a redirection towards something more suited to who you're becoming. 3. The two-handle rule that changes everything. Imagine you're holding a heavy suitcase with a broken handle on one side and a sturdy handle on the other. If you grab the broken handle, you'll struggle, possibly hurt yourself, and make the journey miserable. But if you simply reach for the good handle, the same suitcase becomes manageable. This simple image captures one of Epictetus's most powerful teachings. Every situation in life comes with two handles, and we get to choose which one we grab. Every event has two handles, Epictetus taught his students, one by which it can be carried, and one by which it cannot. This isn't some abstract philosophical concept. It's a practical tool that can transform how you experience every single day of your life. The same event that destroys one person can strengthen another. The difference, which handle they choose to grab. Let's make this concrete. You're in downtown Boston, running late for a crucial job interview. The subway breaks down, and you're stuck underground with no cell service. Handle 1. This is a disaster. I'm going to lose this opportunity. Why does this always happen to me? The universe is against me. Grabbing this handle, you spiral into panic and arrive at the interview flustered and defeated. Handle 2. This is out of my control. Let me use this time to mentally prepare. When I finally arrive, I'll have a great story about staying calm under pressure. This delay is testing exactly the qualities they're looking for in this position. Same situation, completely different experience. The subway delay didn't change, but your experience of it transformed entirely. The beauty of this principle is its universal application. Your teenager just crashed the car? Handle 1 focuses on the destroyed vehicle, the insurance hassle, the money lost. Handle 2 focuses on gratitude that they're alive, the opportunity to teach responsibility, the chance to model calm problem solving. Your business partner betrayed you? Handle 1 obsesses over their dishonesty and your victimization. Handle 2 recognizes the valuable lesson in choosing partners more carefully and the freedom to build something better. This isn't about forced optimism or pretending bad things are good. Epictetus was enslaved, tortured, and exiled. He knew life could be brutal. The 2-handle method is about choosing the most useful perspective, the one that empowers rather than victimizes you. It's about grabbing the handle that lets you carry the weight rather than be crushed by it. Consider how this applies to modern relationship challenges. You discover your partner has been emotionally distant for months. Handle 1. They don't love me anymore. I'm not attractive enough. This relationship is doomed. This handle leads to insecurity, desperate behavior, and often creates the very outcome you fear. Handle 2. Something is bothering them. This is an opportunity for honest communication. We can either grow stronger through this or discover we're not right for each other. Both outcomes lead to a better life. This handle promotes mature dialogue and personal growth regardless of the relationship's fate. The workplace offers endless opportunities to practice this principle. Your presentation completely bombs in front of senior management. Handle 1 drags you into humiliation, self-doubt, and career catastrophizing. Handle 2 recognizes this as invaluable feedback, a chance to improve your skills, and evidence that you're pushing beyond your comfort zone. Every successful person has stories of spectacular failures that taught them crucial lessons. What makes this technique so powerful is that it's always available. You don't need special training, expensive tools, or ideal circumstances. In any moment, you can pause and ask yourself, which handle am I grabbing right now? Is there a better way to carry this? It's like having a superpower that works in every situation. The COVID-19 pandemic provided a massive example of this principle in action. Millions faced the same global crisis, but responses varied dramatically. Some grabbed the handle of fear, isolation, and loss. Others grabbed the handle of adaptation, family connection, and reevaluation of priorities. Same pandemic, radically different experiences based on which handle people chose. Here's a practical exercise. Think about something bothering you right now. Maybe it's a health issue, a financial worry, or a relationship problem. Write down how you're currently viewing it. That's handle 1. Now force yourself to find handle 2. How could this situation potentially benefit you? What might it teach you? How could it make you stronger? This isn't denying the difficulty. It's finding the most useful way to carry it. Epictetus discovered this principle through extreme hardship. When his leg was being broken, he could grab the handle of hatred and bitterness. Instead, he grabbed the handle of philosophical curiosity. How much could a human endure while maintaining dignity? When he was exiled from Rome, he could grab the handle of injustice and resentment. Instead, he grabbed the handle of opportunity and established his influential school. The neuroscience behind this is fascinating. When you grab the negative handle, your amygdala activates, flooding your system with stress hormones. Your prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational thinking, goes offline. You literally become less capable of solving problems. But when you grab the empowering handle, you maintain cognitive function and often find creative solutions you couldn't see in a stress state. This technique becomes more natural with practice. At first, you'll grab the bad handle automatically. That's normal. Most of us were trained from childhood to focus on problems rather than possibilities. But with conscious effort, you can retrain your mental reflexes. Eventually, reaching for the empowering handle becomes your default response. Ultimately, the two-handle rule reveals a profound truth. We have far more control over our experience than we realize. We can't control events, but we absolutely control which aspect of those events we focus on, which story we tell ourselves, which handle we grab. This isn't just positive thinking. It's strategic thinking that transforms obstacles into opportunities and victims into victors. 4. What you actually control. Spoiler: it's not much. When it comes to navigating life's challenges, one of the most liberating yet daunting realizations is understanding what is truly within our control. Picture yourself standing on a busy street in New York City, horns honking, people rushing by, and chaos all around. You might feel overwhelmed by the noise, the pressure to get somewhere on time, and the myriad of distractions vying for your attention. In that moment, it's crucial to recognize that while you can't control the traffic, the weather, or even the attitudes of those around you, you do have control over one powerful thing: your response. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher who lived as a slave and endured great hardships, distilled this wisdom into a fundamental principle. We control our thoughts, beliefs, and reactions, but we do not control external events or the actions of others. He famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This statement is the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy and serves as a guiding light for anyone seeking to navigate the complexities of modern life. In practical terms, what does this mean for you? It means that while you can't control the economy, you can control your attitude toward financial setbacks. When the stock market crashes and your investments take a hit, you may feel a surge of panic and anxiety. But instead of succumbing to fear, you can choose to view this as an opportunity to reassess your financial strategies, learn about market trends, and even seek advice from trusted mentors. The outcome of the market is beyond your control, but your response is entirely yours. Let's delve deeper into this idea with a common scenario. Dealing with a difficult boss. You might feel your boss is unreasonable, demanding, and often dismissive of your contributions. Handle one would have you focus on their behavior, feeling victimized and frustrated every time they criticize your work. However, handle two reframes the situation. You could choose to view your boss's actions as an opportunity to practice resilience and develop your communication skills. By focusing on how to present your ideas more effectively or seeking constructive feedback, you take back control of your experience instead of passively reacting to their negativity. This distinction is crucial because it empowers you. When you recognize the limits of your control, you stop wasting energy on futile attempts to change what cannot be changed. This is not about resignation or apathy. Rather, it's about directing your efforts where they can truly make a difference. You can't control the weather, but you can control whether you bring an umbrella or wear a raincoat. You can't control other people's opinions, but you can control how you respond to criticism. Consider the impact of this philosophy on your mental well-being. When you fixate on things outside your control, you create an environment of stress and anxiety. This constant battle against the uncontrollable drains your energy and diminishes your capacity for joy. However, when you shift your focus to what you can influence, your thoughts, your actions, and your emotional responses, you cultivate a sense of empowerment and agency. You become the author of your own story rather than a passive character swept along by external circumstances. Epictetus taught that the key to achieving this mindset is to differentiate between what is up to us and what is not. He categorized all things into two groups: those that are within our control, our thoughts, intentions, and actions, and those that are not, external events, other people's opinions, and the past. This clear distinction helps us to prioritize our energy and attention effectively. Let's explore another example: a relationship that is experiencing turbulence. You may find yourself in a situation where your partner is distant or uncommunicative. It's easy to feel hurt and frustrated, wondering why they don't seem to care. Handle one would have you fixate on their behavior, feeling rejected and insecure. Handle two, however, invites you to focus on your response. You can choose to reach out and initiate an honest conversation, expressing your feelings and seeking to understand their perspective. In this way, you take control of the situation rather than allowing it to spiral into conflict. This principle extends to your personal goals and aspirations as well. Imagine you're training for a marathon. You can't control the weather on race day, the performance of your competitors, or even how your body feels during the run. What you can control is your training regimen, your mindset, and how you handle the challenges that arise during the race. If you encounter an unexpected injury or a bad day, you can choose to adjust your approach, seek help, and remain committed to your goal. By focusing on your response and your preparation, you maintain agency in the face of uncertainty. As you begin to internalize this Stoic wisdom, you may find it helpful to create a personal control chart. On one side, list the things you can control: your thoughts, your efforts, your responses. On the other side, list things you cannot control: other people's opinions, the outcomes of your efforts, the past. This exercise will serve as a constant reminder to redirect your energy toward what truly matters. One of the most powerful aspects of this practice is that it helps you cultivate resilience. Life will inevitably present challenges, disappointments, and setbacks. By focusing on what you can control, you develop the mental fortitude to face these difficulties head-on. You learn to adapt, to pivot, and to find new paths forward. Instead of feeling defeated by external circumstances, you become a problem solver who thrives in adversity. In conclusion, the essence of Epictetus's teaching is liberating. While you cannot control the world around you, you have complete control over how you respond to it. This realization empowers you to take charge of your life, focus on what truly matters, and cultivate a mindset that embraces challenges as opportunities for growth. As you navigate your daily experiences, remember to reach for the handle that allows you to carry your burdens with grace and strength. 5. Rich people who are poorer than you think. Consider this scene. You're at an upscale restaurant in Manhattan, watching a wealthy executive at the next table. His Rolex gleams under the lights, his suit costs more than most people's monthly rent, and his assistant hovers nearby, ready to fulfill any request. Yet watch closely. He snaps at the waiter because his steak is medium instead of medium rare. His face reddens when someone doesn't recognize him. He spends the entire meal frantically checking his phone, terrified of missing something important. This man has everything money can buy, but he's poorer than you might think. Epictetus witnessed this paradox daily in Nero's court. Surrounded by the wealthiest, most powerful people in the Roman Empire, he noticed something that would shape his entire philosophy. These free citizens were more enslaved than he was. They had traded their inner freedom for golden chains, and most didn't even realize it. Take Senator Claudius, a composite of the types Epictetus observed. He owned multiple villas, commanded respect in the Senate, and had hundreds of slaves at his disposal. Yet he couldn't sleep at night, tormented by fears of losing favor with Nero. One wrong word at court could destroy everything he'd built. He spent his days calculating political moves, flattering people he despised, and constantly checking which way the winds of power were blowing. His wealth owned him more than he owned it. Or consider the wealthy merchant's wife, draped in silk and jewels. She had everything material comfort could provide, yet she was enslaved to public opinion. If another woman wore a finer dress to a banquet, her evening was ruined. If someone failed to compliment her new hairstyle, she'd spend days wondering what people were saying behind her back. Her self-worth was entirely dependent on external validation, a currency she could never fully control. These patterns haven't changed in 2,000 years. Today's version might be the tech CEO in San Francisco who works 18-hour days, destroying his health and relationships to hit quarterly targets. He's worth millions on paper but too anxious to enjoy any of it. Or the social media influencer in Los Angeles with 1 million followers who has panic attacks if a post doesn't get enough likes. They've achieved what society calls success, but they're prisoners in golden cages. What exactly enslaves these wealthy individuals? First, there's the addiction to comfort. Once you're accustomed to luxury, the thought of losing it becomes terrifying. You're no longer free to take risks, speak truth to power, or make choices that might threaten your lifestyle. You become a slave to maintaining what you have rather than pursuing what matters. Then there's the slavery to reputation. The more prominent you become, the more you fear judgment. Every decision gets filtered through, what will people think? You stop being authentic because authenticity might damage your image. You're constantly performing, never able to relax into who you really are. Epictetus watched Roman elites betray their own values, abandon friends, and compromise their integrity, all to protect their social standing. The slavery to ambition might be the cruelest master of all. No achievement is ever enough. You make partner at the law firm, but now you need to make senior partner. You sell your company for millions, but your college roommate sold his for more. The goalpost keeps moving, and you're running on a treadmill that never stops. Epictetus observed how ambition turned potentially happy people into perpetual malcontents, always focused on what they lacked rather than what they had. Perhaps most insidious is the slavery to pleasure. The wealthy Romans Epictetus observed could indulge any desire instantly. But rather than bringing satisfaction, this created an endless cycle of craving. The more they consumed, the more they needed to feel the same satisfaction. They became slaves to their appetites, whether for food, wine, sexual conquests, or entertainment. Modern versions might include addiction to shopping, gambling, or the dopamine hits from constant digital stimulation. Epictetus's insight was profound. True poverty isn't lack of money. It's lack of self-sufficiency. The person who needs external things for happiness is poor, regardless of their bank balance. The executive who can't enjoy his weekend because the stock market is closed? Poor. The influencer whose mood depends on algorithmic engagement? Poor. The socialite who needs constant parties and attention to feel alive? Desperately poor. Meanwhile, Epictetus, legally owned by another human being, was rich in the only currency that matters: inner freedom. He didn't need anyone's approval to feel valuable. He didn't require luxury to be content. He wasn't dependent on external circumstances for his peace of mind. His wealth was portable, indestructible, and completely under his control. This teaching hits especially hard in our consumer culture. We're told that happiness comes from having more money, more followers, more achievements, more experiences. But Epictetus reveals the trap. The more you need, the more enslaved you become. Every new desire is another chain. Every external requirement for happiness is another master you serve. The path to true wealth, according to Epictetus, is radically simple. Need less. Not in the sense of living in deprivation, but in recognizing that everything truly valuable, wisdom, virtue, peace of mind, self-respect, comes from within. These are the only riches that can't be stolen, that don't fluctuate with market conditions, that don't depend on other people's opinions. Ultimately, Epictetus challenges us to redefine wealth entirely. It's not about what you have, but what you don't need. It's not about what you can buy, but what can't be bought. The richest person is the one who can lose everything external and still maintain their contentment, dignity, and purpose. By this measure, many billionaires are paupers, while those with modest means but rich inner lives are truly wealthy. 6. How a nobody became somebody's teacher. Picture this: a dimly lit room in ancient Rome, filled with eager young minds ready to learn. At the front stands a man who was once a slave, yet now commands the attention and respect of Rome's brightest students. This is Epictetus, a living testament to the power of resilience and the transformative nature of Stoic philosophy. His story is not just one of personal triumph. It's also a powerful reminder that your past does not define your future. Epictetus was born into slavery in Hierapolis around 50 CE. His early life was marked by suffering, as he endured physical pain and humiliation. However, rather than being defeated by these circumstances, he discovered the power of his mind and spirit. He learned from his experiences and sought wisdom from the great Stoic teacher Musonius Rufus, who would become a significant influence on his philosophy. This education would lay the groundwork for his eventual emergence as a teacher of Stoicism. The journey from slavery to becoming a renowned philosopher is remarkable and serves as an illustration of the Stoic belief that our circumstances do not define us. While he may have started life as a nobody, Epictetus understood that his true value lay in his thoughts, choices, and character. He embraced the idea that anyone, regardless of their background, could cultivate virtue and wisdom. This was a radical idea in a society where status and wealth often dictated one's worth. As he began teaching in Rome, Epictetus attracted students from all walks of life, including future leaders like the Emperor Hadrian. His teachings emphasized the importance of focusing on what is within our control and accepting what is not. This principle resonated deeply with those who sought to navigate the complexities of power, ambition, and personal fulfillment. In a world where many were enslaved by their desires, Epictetus offered a path to true freedom from the tyranny of external circumstances. One of the key aspects of Epictetus's teaching was the idea that we are not defined by our external titles or possessions, but by our character and choices. He understood that true nobility comes from within. His students learned that being a good person, living virtuously and ethically, was far more important than wealth or social status. This perspective challenged the norms of Roman society, where many sought power and prestige at the expense of integrity and virtue. Epictetus's influence extended far beyond the walls of his classroom. His teachings inspired generations of thinkers, leaders, and common people alike. His emphasis on personal responsibility and the pursuit of wisdom encouraged individuals to reflect on their lives and choices. He believed that every moment presented an opportunity for growth, regardless of one's past or present situation. Consider the story of Hadrian, one of Epictetus's most famous students. Hadrian would go on to become a powerful emperor, but his time under Epictetus's teachings grounded him in Stoic principles. He learned that leadership is about serving others, making wise decisions, and maintaining composure in the face of adversity. The lessons he absorbed from Epictetus shaped his reign and influenced his policies, leading to a period of relative peace and stability known as the Pax Romana. This connection between teacher and student illustrates the profound impact of Stoic philosophy on leadership and governance. Epictetus's teachings provided a moral framework for those in power, reminding them that true authority comes from virtue and wisdom rather than coercion or fear. He instilled in his students the belief that a leader should be a servant to their people, prioritizing the common good over personal ambition. But it wasn't just powerful figures who benefited from Epictetus's teachings. Everyday people found solace and guidance in his philosophy. The Stoic principles he espoused provided a practical toolkit for navigating life's challenges, whether it was dealing with loss, facing uncertainty, or managing relationships. The idea that we can control our responses and attitudes offers a sense of empowerment that resonates across all walks of life. Imagine the average Roman citizen grappling with the pressures of daily life, work, family, social expectations. In a culture that often valued status and material wealth, Epictetus's teachings provided a refreshing alternative. His emphasis on inner strength, self-discipline, and the pursuit of wisdom encouraged individuals to look beyond superficial concerns and focus on what truly mattered: character, virtue, and resilience. Epictetus's teachings also addressed the emotional struggles that many faced. He recognized that life is filled with disappointments and hardships, but he encouraged his followers to see these obstacles as opportunities for growth. The Stoic practice of reframing negative experiences became a cornerstone of his philosophy, teaching individuals to cultivate a mindset that embraces challenges rather than shies away from them. As Epictetus continued to teach, he developed a reputation for his profound insights and practical wisdom. His lectures inspired countless individuals to take charge of their lives and strive for personal excellence. He became known not just as a philosopher, but as a mentor who guided others on their journeys towards self-improvement. His influence reached far beyond the confines of Rome. As his teachings spread, they laid the foundation for Stoicism to become a major philosophical movement in the Western world. The ideas he shared transcended time and place, resonating with people across cultures and generations. Even today, his writings continue to inspire those seeking guidance in a world filled with uncertainty and complexity. At the core of Epictetus's philosophy is the belief that anyone can rise above their circumstances. He demonstrates that greatness is not reserved for the privileged few but is accessible to all who choose to pursue it. This message remains as relevant today as it was in ancient times, reminding us that our potential is not determined by our beginnings but by our choices. Ultimately, Epictetus teaches us that the journey from being a nobody to becoming a respected teacher is not just about external achievements. It is about cultivating the inner qualities that define us: integrity, wisdom, and compassion. Regardless of where we start, we all have the power to shape our destinies and influence those around us positively. This lesson is especially pertinent in our modern world, where many feel lost or overwhelmed by life's challenges. Whether you're navigating personal struggles, professional setbacks, or societal pressures, the story of Epictetus serves as a beacon of hope. It encourages you to rise above your circumstances, embrace your journey, and become the teacher of your own life. 7. Life is theater, and you're not the director. You're sitting in a packed theater in downtown Seattle, watching a play unfold. The lead actor forgets his lines, stumbles, then improvises brilliantly. The audience doesn't know this wasn't scripted. They're captivated by his recovery. Meanwhile, in the wings, another actor sulks because he wanted the lead role. He's so bitter about his smaller part that when his cue comes, he delivers his lines half-heartedly, ruining his own performance. Both actors faced unexpected circumstances, but only one understood what Epictetus taught. We're all actors in a cosmic play, and while we don't choose our roles, we absolutely choose how well we play them. This theatrical metaphor wasn't just clever wordplay for Epictetus. It was a profound insight into the human condition. Remember that you are an actor in a play, he told his students, which is long or short according to the will of the playwright. If he wants you to play a beggar, play even that role with excellence. And the same if it's a cripple, a ruler, or an ordinary citizen. For this is your business, to play well the role assigned to you. But choosing the role, that's another's task. Think about your own life through this lens. You didn't choose your parents, your genetics, your birthplace, or the era you were born into. You didn't write the script that made you tall or short, naturally athletic or bookish, born into wealth or poverty. These are your given circumstances, the role you've been assigned. But here's where your power lies. You get to decide whether you'll be a brilliant actor or a terrible one. Consider Sarah, a single mother in Phoenix who dreamed of being a doctor but got pregnant at 19. That wasn't the role she auditioned for. She could spend her life bitter about the part she's playing, going through the motions resentfully. Or she could recognize that being a dedicated mother who works 2 jobs to support her daughter is a role that demands just as much skill, courage, and excellence as any other. The quality of her performance isn't determined by the role itself, but by how she chooses to play it. This perspective radically shifts how we view fairness and success. We waste enormous energy comparing our roles to others, as if life were a competition for the best parts. Why does he get to be the CEO while I'm stuck in middle management? Why was she born beautiful while I struggle with my appearance? Why do they have loving families while mine is dysfunctional? These questions assume that some roles are inherently better than others. But Epictetus challenges this entire framework. In theater, there are no small parts, only small actors. The person who plays the servant can deliver a performance that outshines the king if they bring dedication, authenticity, and skill to their role. Similarly, in life, a janitor who takes pride in their work, treats people with kindness, and maintains their integrity plays their role better than a corrupt politician or a miserable millionaire. The role doesn't determine the quality of the performance. The actor does. This teaching becomes especially powerful when life hands us roles we never wanted. Maybe you're playing the cancer patient, the divorced parent, the laid-off worker, or the caregiver for aging parents. These aren't roles anyone auditions for. But even here, especially here, you have the power to deliver a performance that inspires others and honors your own dignity. You can play the victim poorly, or you can play the survivor with grace. The theater metaphor also helps us understand why comparing ourselves to others is so futile. Imagine if every actor in a play wanted to be the lead. The production would collapse. A play needs all its roles: the comic relief, the villain, the wise elder, the innocent child. Similarly, the world needs people playing different parts. We need teachers and students, leaders and followers, artists and accountants. The harmony comes not from everyone playing the same role, but from everyone playing their role well. Modern society makes this wisdom particularly relevant. Social media constantly shows us people who seem to have better roles, more glamorous careers, perfect relationships, exciting adventures. We forget we're seeing their highlight reels, not their full performance. More importantly, we forget that they're playing entirely different roles in an entirely different production. Comparing your performance as a small-town teacher to someone's performance as a tech entrepreneur is like comparing an actor in a drama to one in a comedy. It simply doesn't make sense. Epictetus's theater metaphor also addresses our obsession with control. In a play, actors don't control the script, the other actors, or the audience's reaction. They control only their own performance. The actor playing Hamlet doesn't waste energy wishing he were playing King Lear. He doesn't try to rewrite Shakespeare's words or control how the actor playing Ophelia delivers her lines. He focuses entirely on being the best Hamlet he can be. This focus on our own performance rather than the overall production is liberating. You can't control whether your business succeeds, but you can control whether you run it with integrity. You can't control whether your marriage lasts, but you can control whether you're a loving, faithful partner. You can't control whether you get the promotion, but you can control whether you deserve it. The outcome isn't your responsibility, your performance is. Here's where this metaphor offers its deepest wisdom. Every role, no matter how challenging, offers opportunities for greatness. The actor playing the villain can bring such depth and humanity to the role that audiences understand evil in a new way. The actor playing the fool can deliver wisdom through humor. Similarly, someone dealing with chronic illness can model courage. Someone facing poverty can demonstrate resilience. Someone navigating loss can teach others about grief and healing. The question isn't, why did I get this role? But, how can I play this role in a way that honors my values and serves the larger production? When you shift from resentment about your part to curiosity about how to play it well, everything changes. You stop being a victim of circumstances and become an artist working with the materials you've been given. Ultimately, Epictetus reminds us that the play will end. The curtain will fall on all our performances. What matters isn't whether we played the lead or a bit part, whether we got standing ovations or performed in obscurity. What matters is whether we played our role with commitment, authenticity, and excellence. Because in the end, the real audience isn't the other people in our lives, it's our own conscience, our own sense of integrity, our own knowledge that we gave our best performance regardless of the role we were assigned. 8. Turn your worst chapter into your best story. Imagine you're at a crossroads in your life. You've just faced a significant setback, perhaps a job loss, a painful breakup, or a health scare. It feels as if the world is closing in on you, and the weight of despair threatens to crush your spirit. At this moment, it's easy to see your life as a series of unfortunate events, a narrative defined by struggle and loss. But what if I told you that within every hardship lies the potential for transformation, growth, and the creation of a powerful new narrative? Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, had profound insights into this very idea, reminding us that we have the power to turn our worst chapters into our best stories. Epictetus understood that life is not always fair, and challenges are inevitable. However, he believed that how we respond to these challenges determines our character and defines our journey. He famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This principle is the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy and serves as a guiding light for anyone facing adversity. Consider the story of Epictetus himself. Born a slave, he faced unimaginable hardships from the very start of his life. He was physically abused and denied basic human rights. Yet, rather than being defined by his suffering, he transformed his experiences into a source of strength and wisdom. He turned his pain into purpose, using it to teach others how to navigate their own struggles. This is the essence of turning a difficult chapter into a compelling story. Let's take a moment to reflect on your own life. Think of a time when you faced a significant obstacle. Perhaps it was the end of a long-term relationship, the loss of a job, or a health crisis. In those moments, it's natural to feel overwhelmed and defeated. However, as time passes, you may begin to see those challenges differently. You might realize that those experiences forced you to confront your weaknesses, discover your strengths, and ultimately grow as a person. For instance, let's say you lost your job unexpectedly. Initially, this may have felt like a disaster. You faced uncertainty about your finances, your future, and your self-worth. However, as you navigated the job search, you may have discovered hidden talents you didn't know you had. You might have realized you enjoyed networking, learned new skills, or even found a passion for a different career path. What started as a painful chapter could lead to a more fulfilling and rewarding story. In this way, setbacks can serve as powerful catalysts for personal growth. Epictetus teaches us that adversity is not just something to endure. It's an opportunity to learn, adapt, and evolve. Life's challenges can strip away the superficial and reveal our true selves. They force us to dig deep, confront our fears, and develop resilience. The key is to embrace these experiences and view them as stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. Let's explore how to actively turn your worst chapters into your best stories. The first step is to adopt a mindset of curiosity. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" shift your focus to, "What can I learn from this experience?" This simple change in perspective opens the door to growth. It allows you to approach challenges with a sense of agency, recognizing that you have the power to shape your response. Next, practice self-reflection. Take time to understand how your experiences have influenced you. Journaling can be an effective way to process your thoughts and feelings. Write about the challenges you faced, how you reacted, and what you learned from the situation. This practice not only helps you gain clarity, but also allows you to track your progress over time. You may find that what once felt like a burden has become a badge of honor, a testament to your resilience. Another powerful tool is to reframe your narrative. Instead of seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances, view yourself as the hero of your own story. Every hero faces trials and tribulations, but it is through overcoming these challenges that they grow and evolve. When you reframe your experiences in this way, you empower yourself to take control of your narrative. You become the author of your own life story, rather than a passive participant. Consider the story of someone who experienced a traumatic event, such as a serious illness. At first, this may seem like a tragic chapter. However, the individual might find that their experience leads them to advocate for health awareness, support others going through similar challenges, or even inspire others with their journey of recovery. By reframing their narrative, they transform a painful experience into a source of strength and inspiration for themselves and others. Additionally, surrounding yourself with supportive people can make a significant difference. Share your experiences with trusted friends or family members who can offer perspective and encouragement. Sometimes, simply talking about your struggles can help you see them in a new light. You may find that others have faced similar challenges and can offer valuable insights. It's also important to practice self-compassion during difficult times. Acknowledge your feelings and allow yourself to grieve the losses or disappointments you've faced. It's okay to feel sad, angry, or frustrated. Recognizing and validating your emotions is a crucial step in the healing process. Remember, even the greatest Stoics acknowledged their feelings. What sets them apart is how they chose to respond to those feelings. As you work through your struggles, focus on taking small, actionable steps toward your goals. This could involve setting new career objectives, pursuing a hobby you've always wanted to try, or even volunteering in your community. Each small step contributes to a larger journey of personal growth. Celebrate these victories, no matter how small they may seem. They are all part of your evolving story. Finally, embrace the idea that every chapter of your life contributes to your overall narrative. Just as a book has ups and downs, twists and turns, your life will have its share of successes and setbacks. Each experience shapes who you are and prepares you for the next challenge. Trust that you're growing stronger with each chapter, and that your story is unfolding exactly as it should. In conclusion, turning your worst chapters into your best stories is a powerful practice that allows you to reclaim your narrative. By adopting a mindset of curiosity, practicing self-reflection, reframing your experiences, surrounding yourself with support, and embracing self-compassion, you can transform adversity into a source of strength. Just like Epictetus, you have the power to write your story, one chapter at a time, and to emerge from each challenge wiser and more resilient. Life's challenges are not the end of your story. They are the beginning of new possibilities. So when you face difficulties, remember, you have the strength to turn them into something beautiful. Embrace your journey, play your role with excellence, and let your story inspire others along the way. Your 5-minute daily Stoic practice. We've journeyed together through the remarkable life of Epictetus. From his days as a slave in Nero's palace to his transformation into one of history's most influential teachers. We've discovered how a man who owned nothing material became richer than emperors through the power of his mind. We've learned that bad days can be our greatest teachers, that every situation has two handles, and that we're all actors in a cosmic play where excellence matters more than the role itself. But here's the truth. All this wisdom means nothing if it stays trapped in theory. Epictetus didn't endure torture and exile just so we could have interesting philosophical discussions. He lived through hell and emerged with practical tools for creating an unshakable life. Now it's time to take these ancient teachings and make them work in your modern world. Every morning when you wake up, you face a choice. You can let life happen to you, reacting to whatever chaos the day brings. Or you can take 5 minutes to armor yourself with Stoic wisdom. Start by asking yourself, what's likely to challenge me today? Maybe it's that difficult coworker, the morning commute, or a tough conversation you've been avoiding. Prepare your mind by deciding in advance how you'll handle these situations with dignity and wisdom. Next, practice the fundamental distinction Epictetus taught: what's in your control versus what isn't. Your boss's mood? Not your control. Your response to their mood? Completely yours. Traffic? Not your control. Your attitude during the delay? All yours. This isn't just mental exercise. It's practical preparation that transforms frustration into freedom. Throughout your day, when challenges arise, pause and ask, which handle am I grabbing? Remember, every situation offers two ways to carry it. Choose the one that empowers rather than victimizes you. When someone cuts you off in traffic, when you get passed over for promotion, when plans fall apart, these are your training moments. Each one is a chance to practice being the person you want to become. As evening comes, take a few minutes to reflect. Not to judge yourself harshly, but to learn. What situations revealed your character today? Where did you respond with wisdom, and where did you let emotions rule? This isn't about perfection. Even Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, struggled daily with applying these principles. It's about progress, about becoming slightly better each day at playing your role with excellence. The beauty of Stoicism is its simplicity. You don't need expensive courses, complex rituals, or years of study. You need 5 minutes of daily practice and the willingness to see life's challenges as your personal training ground. Every difficult person becomes your teacher. Every setback becomes your strength training. Every loss becomes your lesson in what truly matters. This is your invitation to join a tradition stretching back 2,000 years. a tradition of ordinary people using extraordinary wisdom to build unshakable lives. Whether you're facing minor annoyances or major crises, these principles work. They worked for a slave in ancient Rome, and they'll work for you in modern America. If this message resonated with you, I encourage you to subscribe to the Stoic Vivu channel. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our daily dose of practical wisdom. Like this video if it helped you see your challenges differently. And please, share it with someone who's going through a tough time. Sometimes the right message at the right moment can change everything. Remember, you already have everything you need to live an excellent life. The wisdom of Epictetus isn't locked away in dusty books. It's alive in every choice you make, every response you choose, every moment you decide to grab the right handle. Your worst days don't define you. Your response to them does.